I can tell you're in town because I see your little the Warhammer figurines in the background.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
called taste.
yeah.
Stefan, do you like Warhammer?
Do you know what? I never really got into it, but I had
Oh, come on, man.
sorry.
You're gonna love it. No, this is if
Yeah.
there's one thing I can give you because you're giving me a great interview, I'm gonna tell you to go check out Warhammer. It's really fun. So
Just make sure to tell your loved ones that you're about to lose all your paychecks to back the crack. That's
it's worth
probably
it.
important.
We like because obviously soccer's so big in England. I used to collect these little things called Sabutio, and they were like little footballers that you'd kind
Oh
of.
yeah,
Oh no way, that's
That
cool.
was my
exactly.
version when I was a kid.
See, I knew I was gonna like you, Stefan. That's awesome. Hell yeah. We're just a bunch of
Sabuki now.
bunch
We
of
never heard of it.
collectors
That's
here, a
cool.
bunch of dorks. Look at us.
So I've not got too much time, so I will get started because I one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie was I just really loved the simplicity of the narrative. I love kind of real time action thriller movies. That's my bag.
My
What
God.
I was gonna ask, and I'll start with you, Mason. Like, what for you makes a great action film? What are the kind of key components? What do you look for in the genre?
So I was a big dork in high school that kind of propagated most of my relationships to other people on like fantasies I'd make in my head. And I always loved the like classic save the school scenario where like I'm just a 300-pound dork, which I was. And these like evil guys came in and took over the school, and it's like up to me to stop them from, taking the girl that I love or whatever. And so I have to say, I feel like my favorite action movies are the ones where the stakes are so impossibly high and set for the everyday protagonist. Maybe they have a certain set of skills that set them apart, but they've long since given up that life because they're trying to, turn a new leaf. And I feel like if they're put in a situation where they get to show their skills that maybe get overlooked by their friends or society, it creates a circumstance to have like the most high octane action. Um, that and I guess if they have superpowers, that's cool too. But that's my answer. The classic save the school scenario
It's
is
funny,
my.
really, because I think we all, when we're kind of young, especially when we're teenagers, we all have those kind of fantasies of being the ones that kind of save the day. But doing what you guys do, and Dylan, obviously, you've been doing this for a long time now. Being an actor, you kind of do get to save the day. Do you feel like you've had the chance to fulfill those fantasies in some ways by via characters in movies like this?
I will say that, like, if you were asking me 5 years ago if I ever thought I would do an action movie or someone would see me as a potential person to be an action hero, I would say and confirmed no. Just because I didn't expect that, always saw myself more as like the silly goose. And
Oh,
I am very happy to have done films like this one because it's such a fun environment on set. We were talking in our previous interview that coming to set and getting trained by like Navy SEALs and doing hand-to-hand combat with knives and shooting fake guns on set is kind of every boy's dream, I think, a little bit when you get out there and then you're choreographing all day a fight scene. That to me is something that I never really expected I would have the opportunity to do, but I'm so glad that I did. It is, in my opinion, one of the most fun on-set environments, especially because, I'd grown up mostly familiar with doing comedies or drama or stuff like that. And that has a sore lack of suffice to say, like true physical expression, the way that you have to do it on an action movie, right? So this is a nice blend and kind of an evolution of what I'm happy to be learning on set.
it's really funny because if you know Dylan in real life, I'd have to ask more of his friends to confirm this, but I know he says stuff like, "Oh, I don't know if I picture myself as being an action hero," but not only does he marry a distinct juxtaposition between being goofy and a silly goose while also being a very domineering and uh, very passionate presence amongst like the people that he cares about. Like I think the best action heroes are the ones that do understand that duality between being affable and loving while also being stern and willing to fight for the things that you love. And I think Dylan's always had that.
That's a
So
great.
it's just a matter of time before someone was like, let's just put that on screen. and they did it.
That's
And it's
nice of you to say, but you are right in so far as your assessment, I think, of the best action heroes, because like I even think to the ones that I really love, like I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, and I'm like all of those older kind of Kurt Russell action movies are all that. Even if we were looking at Die Hard, which I know was something that we talked about a lot on this set, you do have to have that distinct amount of levity when you're approaching action, because otherwise it's just too bleak. It has to be a little silly. You have to get off like a sayonara motherfucker every once in a while in order for it to be, I think, a fun action flick, which is the way that most people want to watch them.
Yeah. But I thought you could tell that you guys were having a lot of fun out there. But it's interesting. I did a junket recently for an action movie, and I spoke to the kind of hero of the film, played by Tom Welling, and he said on the shoot, he and the film's antagonist, played by Cam Gigandet, they kind of maintain a kind of level of distance to help play into the kind of character's dynamic and to inform their performances. I just wondered, did you guys ever contemplate doing anything similar, or did you prefer just to kind of have a lot of fun? I know it's a different approch.
I tried every day to get away from Dylan. I would just
Mason,
try.
hey Mason.
I'd even tell him like, "Yo, Dylan, we're all gonna go to the bar," and then we'd go to a completely different one. He'd still. I don't think I don't want to disrespect other actors in their process. I understand.
I'll go for it because I'm with you.
No, I feel as if the relationship on and off set, it should be maintained as like a personal experience rather than a more, I'll say, stringent one. Like, because I fuck with Dylan, because I appreciate Dylan as a person, I'm going to spend time with him and try to get to know him outside of the work, so that when we're on set, the crew, the people behind the camera, they don't feel a tension where there really isn't any. Dylan is the most considerate, funny, thoughtful guy. And if I were to act as if he weren't, it would make the day on set for the people that aren't on camera, I feel, a lot more difficult to get through. I also feel like even if you want to make the argument and it makes my job harder to be mean to him or like beat him up on screen, I'd say I'd rather work harder as an actor to create tension in a scene than try and fabricate it off camera and make everyone else uncomfortable with our distance.
I 100% agree with you. Like, first off, in a very similar vein, I think I would be very hard pressed, no matter how professional I am, to not like Mason. He's kind of a fun loving, but also very professional guy. It takes a lot to be, in that position and to be professional, hardworking, and easy to work with. I think that on all counts. But I do think like what you're talking about, and again, to echo Mason's sentiments a little bit, no slight, because everyone has their different method of getting where they need to be. Though I do find it's a bit of a misrepresentation of chemistry, because I think everything gets better and easier if you are friendlier or understand the person you're working with better. So if you're trying to channel animosity in a scene, it's easier if you know that the space that you're playing in, which is this magic circle of the set or on a stage or on location, it's easier to get to those places if you are actually genuinely friends with the person that you're working with. I think people who say things like, well, I needed to hate this guy so I can hate him on screen, I'm like, I actually just think that you just need to, I don't know, talk to each other and do some more rehearsals.
No, dude, I feel like that. I'm sorry if we're taking too long to answer. You said a very interesting thing, and I love mulling these things over on my off time for some reason. I feel like that notion that in order to be contentious on set, I need to not talk to you, I feel is not indicative of how we deal with tension in real life. Like, okay, if I dislike someone, I might go out of my way not to speak to them. And I understand that, because if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But in the scene, you have to actively communicate with one another with written dialogue that is pre-considered and written out ahead of time, So if I haven't talked to you about maybe where your head is at before the scene, or if I just don't know the type of person you are, I'm making my job so much more difficult by trying to believe that I don't like you because I just haven't spoken to you. In other words, it feels like more fabrication.
I'll give you another analog too to that exact point. I think it's very easy to say these kind of things since like you and I are doing an action movie. But think about how weird it would be if I were to say this about doing a romance movie with a partner
Right.
who I'm like, no, I really wanted to be in love with her so that I could make the love on set look better. Like, dude, that's weird.
Right.
You don't need to do that because we're fighting each other.
No, there are actors that probably believe that creates the greatest form of art. And I
weird. You're gonna catch a case.
It's just not mine. So that's okay.
It's weird, dude. Just act.
Yeah, it's funny because I think, you know, obviously everyone has their own like process and thing to get there, but I do agree with both of you guys on that front.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, but I think I've got time for just one more, unfortunately. But I think because you obviously it sounds like you can tell you guys get on. I can tell you obviously you have a great kind of affinity for the.
That's acting, baby. No,
we actually hate each other. I'm messaging him under the table right now.
But I can tell you guys have a real kind of affection for the kind of craft and for kind of making movies. But I feel like this is kind of true of both of you. But given kind of your backgrounds, and I would say kind of cinema feels like it's in both of your kind of bloods, in the family, or you've been in the industry from young ages. Would you say you feel very at home on a movie set? Is that where you feel very comfortable? Would you say, Steve?
For sure. I think though that like working with someone like Mason, and you can tell that we're actually friends. We knew each other even previously to this movie, but that certainly makes it feel more like a home, right? It certainly makes it easier. You want to go into work, and which it is, at the end of the day, this is still our professions. So you want to go into work and you want to have a good work environment. You don't want to go in and feel like it's a slog or that I'm going to have to pretend to hate him all day. That's not something that I think ever produces something fun or watchable to the degree by which I would like to make movies. But yeah, I think that this one was certainly one of those that felt like that. And when you are shooting on location and you're away from your real home for months at a time, you're going to really want to know and like the people that you work with. I think that just makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine being away from home and then also isolating yourself from other? Hey, whatever.
I've been there. I've been there. It's not great.
It just. Do you love your job? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be judgmental. No, I feel like because I grew up, it's funny because it's similar experiences but different. Dylan has worked for longer than I've been alive, arguably, and from the moment I was born until I started acting myself, have just been around set. So whereas you might expect someone who's been working in the industry for so long to have an air of professionalism, which Dylan does and exudes effortlessly. I've always viewed set as a space of creativity and productivity that makes professionalism a given, something I understand the machinations of how sets function, but I also see the like loving family dynamic in it, and it helps to have someone like Dylan around who has spent so long curating a level of family and like positive environment for several different sets and casts and crews, that by this time a desire in me to find a family dynamic gets so easily facilitated by Dylan, who's so well versed in creating comfortable and safe and loving environments on set.
And that couldn't happen without you, Mason. At the same time, like everyone has to be on the same page mentally, I think, outside of the scenes.
Yeah.
Because if you came on a set and you were stressed or you were acting strange or you were doing things which you never have done, and I think by principle of knowing the person that you are, you wouldn't do. I think I wouldn't, for the record, I wouldn't have wanted to work with you again, which now we worked with each other again, and I would continue to on anything that you do. So
Lovely. You guys are great. Thank you.
He's great. I'm just keeping up. You know what? You're great, Stefan.
But just very quickly, because I've done my time and stuff, I've got to go. But just one thing I was going to ask you very quickly, Dylan, is I was a big fan of you rocking up to that fashion show with cardboard cutouts of your pets. I just wanted to, did you keep them? I mean, the cutouts, not the pets.
well, both. Yes. I was on the side, funny enough, of because I'm also a stressful packer in my luggage. I was like, I think, well, babe, look, we did the thing. Now you can do with them. But she did pack them away. She wanted them for the memories, so she put them in her luggage, and now they're upstairs.
You've inspired me to now get some of my dog and put them up somewhere in my house. So, but I'm not sure my wife will agree, but I'll give it a go.
My favorite from that, like that the whole cardboard cutouts thing got reposted a few times. But I guess in one of the interviews that I was being asked about, I was like, yeah, I just went to Staples and did it, and then I got tagged in the official Staples account being like, see, you can print things like this at Staples.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell?
You gotta turn that into something, duh. That's marketing right there.
Staples spokesperson.
Well, anyway, thank you so much, guys. I'm all out of time. I think I went a bit over, so sorry, guys. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and it's nice to chat to you both.
Thanks, Stefan.
Appreciate you, brother.
Try Warhammer, man.
Yeah, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey, you guys!